Mona, my name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this set of essays for you. I apologize in the delay. I was on vacation, and then Ben had an emergency, so he was unable to do the correction. But I'm back, and so I'm happy to do this for you, okay? So let's see. You've got a very interesting table here, tons of information. Let's see what you did with it. As shown in the table, which presents how the UK unemployed pass their daytime across different activities, some key features could be noticed. All right, let's start with that. That's not really how we begin a task. Okay, a task one. It's really very simple. All you need to do, you basically need to simplify this. So you could say the table. So you tell us what it is: a table, a pie chart, a bar chart, whatever. The table provides information. Okay, that's a nice set expression to use on how you no, okay, on how unemployed people utilized their time last year in the UK. So it could have been something like that. All right. So the diagram, whatever it is, provides information on and then some sort of rephrasing of this. All right. And that's it. Okay. Then don't forget that you need an overview. An overview is critical to your task one if you hope to get a band 6 or higher in task achievement. Without an overview, you're not going to get a band 6. All right, so what is an overview? An overview essentially shows you what the most obvious thing is, what the biggest trend is, the biggest change, but the thing that really sticks out the most. Okay, so looking at this really fast, I pick out shopping as something interesting for women. And for men, I pick out job hunting. Okay. And then if you look at the afternoon, there aren't really as many trends except for women and housework. Okay. So what could you say about that? You could say a bunch of different things for your overview. You could say, on the whole, oh yeah, housework. I didn't notice that actually. There it is. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. You could say that on the whole, women spent the greatest percentage of their time on housework, whereas for men it was shopping or job hunting. That's it. Okay. So housework for women, and men it was job hunting. Yeah, you could say job hunting and shopping perhaps. All right. So that's how your overview would be. Let's see. All right. So you more or less wrote that, but the problem is that you didn't signpost it appropriately. By signpost, I mean that you have to give us some sort of a word here in the beginning, which shows us that this is your overview. So if you had done that, that would have been okay. So it could have been overview, sorry, overall, uh, it is shown that job hunting, shopping, and gardening are the top 3 activities taking up the most time for men, while housework, shopping, and job hunting are the ones for women. And that would have been okay. I think 3 is a little too much for an overview. I'm more okay with 1 or 2. But again, it would have been okay. All right, let's see. Secondly, if we look into something in common for both genders, comma here, no new sentence, both men and women prefer to spend more time on job hunting during the morning than during the afternoon. Period. What's more, they share the features that playing sport used less than 5% of their time and even less in the afternoon. Finally, it's important to point out the difference between genders. The amount of time for men to look for a job is higher, not the amount of time, the percentage, we're talking about percentages here, than that for women during the day. Meanwhile, women spent much more time on housework and shopping than men. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this. Your grammar is fine for the most part, but there's very little data. Okay, and that's going to really cost you in task achievement. You have like one piece of data, that's it. And it's a problem because I didn't count how many categories there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 categories and then times 4. So it's huge. In fact, I'm a little concerned about this table because it's really very dense in terms of information for a task one. So I'm wondering where you got this from. It doesn't feel for me to be particularly representative of the kinds of tasks you get. I've never seen in my years examining something with so much information in a table. Okay. However, let's ignore that for the moment and talk about how you could have done this. Um, you basically needed to include more information, and I also would have divided my categories, and there are a bunch of different ways you could have divided them. Right. So there are a ton of different ways you could organize this information. I'm going to make a few suggestions. Because there's so much information here, one thing you may want to do is group. So how I would do it is I would probably talk about percentages. I would group them like this. Over 20% or over. Okay. I might even throw in housework here. And then, well, maybe I wouldn't. I would say 20% or over. And then I would say the ones that are 10 to 20%. Okay, so 10 to 19%. In other words, I would put shopping and job hunting together. I would put houseworking and gardening together. And then the rest of those categories I would lump in the under 10% category. So let me show you what that would look like. In the morning, men spent 20% or over of their time on two activities, shopping and job hunting. A slightly smaller percentage of their time was spent on housework and gardening at 19 and 14% respectively. The remaining activities all occupied less than 10% of their time. And then you're done with that category. As far as the afternoon is concerned, men spent between 12 and 14% of their time on 4 activities. And then you name them. Then you can say the remaining categories, all used 9% or less. Okay, so you can see it's all about grouping. Then I would switch paragraphs and I would talk about women, and I would do the same thing. Okay, you do want to make some comparisons. So you want to say, for example, when you talk about women in the afternoon, you do want to say that this was half the time they spent in the morning and things like that. Okay, so this is one of the many ways you could organize this essay. All right, but you do want to use some data. Let's talk about this one now. Your task 2. Some people argue that all experimentation is bad. Scientific discoveries, can it be justified? Are there alternatives? All right. There is a controversy over the use of animal tests. While some people favor the significant scientific findings contributed by animal experiments, but others are against the existence of these tests on animals. Without a shadow of a doubt, I won't stand by the positive side of animal tests. Okay. I feel some of this language is a little unnatural. Like I don't really love this without a shadow of a doubt, and I won't stand by. It just feels unnatural. It's not really how we how we write, and certainly not kind of like an IELTS style. So let's work on that a little bit. All right. And I would have also changed this. There is a controversy. How about there is a debate would have been better. All right. So there is, how about we do this? There is considerable debate over the use of animal testing. While some people favor the significant findings contributed by experiments on animals, others are against the existence of these tests. All right. This way we're using some lexical coherence. So you're not using animal, animal, animal. Personally, I am strongly against this method of testing. Okay? So this way, you're using some lexical cohesion. You're not repeating the word animal, animal, animal all the time. You're kind of varying it up a little bit. And it feels a little more fluid and more fluent. Let's continue. On one hand, animals have been coexisting with humans for centuries, and we don't have the privilege to abuse them. Okay? I feel like some of this vocabulary is a little unnatural. We wouldn't say the privilege. You could, or we don't have the privilege. We don't say that. So we don't have the right to abuse them, would have been better. Or you could have said, yeah, we don't have the right to abuse them is the best way you could have said this. It's the most natural. Most animal tests without of are performed in a cruel way, and thus those lives, plural, are erased in a blink of an eye. In a blink of an eye. Furthermore, the existence of animal tests encourages some gray product change. For example, the illegal hunting of animals and fast fashion products made up. Fast fashion products made with fur and feathers. Some brands like the Body Shop have already joined the cruelty-free activity and make it as a core value. All right, this sentence is irrelevant. So if you want to make it relevant, there are ways to do this. Okay. But it just, you kind of threw it in there and it doesn't help. It doesn't show you why we don't have the right to abuse them. You said they're performed in a cruel way. Maybe you could have given us an example. And then the existence of animal tests encourages great. So why don't you say instead, for example, I don't know, elephants are an endangered species in certain part of the world because people are stealing them for their ivory. Okay. Or what else could you have said? You said fast fashion products made of fur and made with fur and feathers. Um, yeah, maybe you could have said something about that. Maybe given us an example, not about a company that doesn't do this, but about a company that does do this. You could have said, for example, I don't know, let's make something up. We don't have to be honest here. We could say, for example, Zara or Shane or whatever has been cited for using leather products that have not been sourced ethically, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Or you don't even have to say the name. You could say, for example, a well known fast fashion company has been cited as doing this, sparking considerable protests from people around the world. All right, so that's what you could have done. Okay. On the other hand, the accuracy of animal experiments is still pending. Same for its compare. All right, that's awkward. What does that mean? Same for its comparability. I don't understand that at all. The safety shown from test No, S. The safety shown from test results based on a tissue or a cell of an animal couldn't guarantee the product safety for humans. Instead, many product tests could be done by consumers in a safe way, such as a mini skin test on arms. Moreover, modern technology allows researchers to extract or create human cells in a lab so that product tests could be conducted on real humans. S. Okay. I feel like this could be more developed. I feel like you could say a little more here. Maybe you could wrap it up and say, therefore, the argument that the scientific information we gain from animal testing cannot be replicated elsewhere is faulty. Okay, that would have been a great sentence because that goes back to this. You're telling us, you know what? It's not true. And so you want to wrap it up somehow. To wrap up, animals' lives, it's not one life, it's many lives. Animals' lives shouldn't be sacrificed for scientific breakthroughs. or the convenience of performing experiments, and it's totally possible to replace animal tests with more ethical and more accurate alternatives. All right, that's good. So there's some good stuff in your writing. I definitely see some nice elements, but I also see some areas where you need improvement, grammar, vocabulary, maybe a little more task achievement. So I would say all across the board, your writing is fine, but it could be better. I don't know the score you need. Maybe you mentioned it in an email. I didn't really see that. But if you're aiming for a band 7, I think there's more we could do here. So take a look at all the different opportunities that exist for us to work together and see which one works for you. And I hope we can help you get to the score you need. Okay, so good luck.